Unlock the hidden secrets of serenity, transform your stress into sacred peace. I never expected a single dream to change everything. I woke up, drenched in sweat, my heart racing. I had seen a bright light, it pulsated with energy, inviting me into a world not of this one. All around me, shadows danced, whispering promises of tranquility. But who could trust a dream? In the chaos of my life, doubt held my hand like an unwelcome companion. My job was suffocating, and responsibilities hoisted themselves onto my shoulders like heavy stones. I stared at the wall, that dull beige, as if hoping it held answers. They say the universe speaks, but I was deaf to its calls, lost in my own thoughts. One evening, while sitting cross-legged on my cramped living room floor, I closed my eyes, searching for peace. I could almost hear the soft rustle of leaves outside, the wind playing the strings of nature's harp. The aroma of the flickering candles surrounded me, filling the air with something sweet and nostalgic, a hint of hope nestled against despair. Suddenly, I felt a chill. My breath hitched. Could I really let go of the burdens I carried? The answer hung in the air like an unfiltered truth, heavy and significant. A bird outside the window called, a high-pitched whistle that shattered the silence. Was it a sign? Or just another mundane moment? The tension gripped my chest, the shadows elongating, taunting me with the unknown. What if there was more? What if I was on the brink of something greater, something transformative? Yet, questions buzzed in my mind like a swarm of angry hornets. My heart thudded in my ears. Maybe this dream was not just a product of my restless sleep. Maybe it was a key. I could feel something stirring inside me, a stirring that felt ancient and wise. But still, I hesitated. As the sun set, casting a dull orange glow across the room, I sensed the weight of destiny pressing down on me. I wanted to push through the fog of uncertainty, step into the light that beckoned, but fear tied me down. What lay beyond that door? The dream solidified in my mind, a vivid image of peace, but could I reach it? I was left standing on the edge, poised to leap into the unknown. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The dawn crept in softly, painting the world in shades of pastel. I sat at my window, the light spilling through the glass, illuminating the remnants of my fear and uncertainty. As birds sang their morning songs, I sensed a stirring, a yearning that pulsed through my veins. The dream lingered in my mind like a fading echo, urging me to discover the treasure hidden beneath the layers of my own discontent. Today, I decided, I would not shy away from the signs. Wrapped in my favorite scarf, I stepped outside, greeted by a brisk wind that kissed my cheeks. Nature stretched before me, an expansive canvas of existence. The trees swayed gently, their branches extending as if inviting me into their embrace. A feeling of calm washed over me, though threads of vulnerability still wove through my being. Walking down the street, I noticed the mundane transformed into the extraordinary. A child laughed, chasing after a butterfly, oblivious to the world's weight. An elderly couple shared a knowing smile, coffee cups clutched in hand, their silence brimming with history. My heart swelled with hope. I realized that in their ordinary moments, they uncovered fragments of peace, small treasures often overlooked. As I wandered, I found myself drawn to a small park where the air was imbued with the scent of blooming flowers. People gathered in clusters, but one figure stood apart, seated on a bench lost in contemplation. He was an old man, hair white as the clouds, his face a map of wrinkles telling stories untold. In his presence, an aura of stillness radiated, pulling me in. Approaching him cautiously, I felt a familiar chill descend, a sensation I had learned to recognize as a precursor to breakthrough. He looked up as if he had been awaiting me, his eyes twinkling with secrets. Life is a dance of shadows and light, he said, his voice soothing like melted honey. To find serenity, one must embrace both. In that moment, I was overwhelmed by a realization. The very struggle I fought against my doubts, responsibilities, and fears were not foes to vanquish but parts of a larger tapestry. Each strand, even the frayed and twisted ones, contributed to my growth. But how? I whispered, the question escaping my lips unbidden. With a gentle smile, he replied, seek the stillness within. The answer lies not in the external noise but in the silence of your heart. He gestured to the vibrant blooms around us. Just as a flower opens to the sun, so must you to the shadows. His words sunk deep, igniting a flicker of understanding within me. Was it possible that the very things I resisted were meant to guide me? I watched as a gentle breeze rustled the foliage, sending petals cascading through the air, each one a reminder of impermanence, beauty and letting go. Before I could express my gratitude, he stood, returning my gaze with profound wisdom. Remember, every path leads to the same destination. The journey is an invitation to discover the depth of your spirit. Trust the process. He turned and walked away, leaving me with a sense of connection I had never known. As I stood there, the world around me buzzing with life, I pondered the old man's words. What if my fear was merely the universe encouraging me to lean into this transformation? Doubt, anxiety, perhaps they were simply the shadows accompanying my light. Lost in thought, I decided to follow a narrow path that wound through the park, feeling guided, each step forward igniting curiosity. With every footfall, a question echoed in my mind: how do I cultivate the stillness to hear the whispers of my spirit amidst the clamor of everyday life? And what secrets lingered in the shadows waiting to be unveiled? I left the park with a renewed sense of purpose, a flame kindled in my heart. Yet, the mystery remained. A greater understanding of serenity still lay before me. Would I find the courage to embrace both the light and the shadows on this journey? Each day an unfolding story, beckoning me deeper into the unknown. The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the earth as I made my way to the riverside. The water sparkled like 1,000 diamonds, its gentle flow whispering secrets of time as it carried the day's burdens downstream. It was an invitation to pause, to reflect, and perhaps to dive deeper into my own currents. That I settled on a smooth rock, allowing the chill from the water to kiss my feet. The rhythmic sound of the flowing river became a soothing mantra, drowning out the chaos that often spiraled within. I closed my eyes and drew in a deep breath, exhaling the remnants of uncertainty still tangled in my heart. That I and the stirring silence, thoughts of the old man returned. I mused over his words, the concept of embracing the shadows wrapped tightly around my heart. Suddenly, a soft rustle across the bank drew my attention. I opened my eyes to see a woman draped in flowing white fabric, her hair cascading like silk. She sat alone, eyes closed, hands positioned delicately in her lap, a figure radiating tranquility. Observing her, I felt an inexplicable pull, as if she were a manifestation of the serenity I longed to grasp. As if sensing my gaze, she opened her eyes and met my watchful stare. Instead of looking away, I was held by her compassionate gaze, her presence grounding me in the moment. She smiled gently, motioning for me to join her. Feeling drawn in, I crossed the small distance between us and sat down on the grass beside her. I often come here to unwind, she said, her voice light as the breeze. The river teaches us to flow with life, not against it. What burdens you, dear one? Her question was a thread pulling at the depths of my spirit. I hesitated, unsure how to articulate the viper-like thoughts that coiled in my mind. I struggle with accepting my fears and doubts, I finally admitted, the words slipping out like confessions. I desire peace, but it eludes me. She nodded knowingly, her eyes reflecting the shifting patterns of the water. To find peace, one must first dance with fear. Those shadows serve a purpose, you see. They illuminate what you truly seek: courage, love, authenticity. By acknowledging them, you reclaim your power. Her words stirred something within me, resonating with the truth I had sensed in the old man's guidance. But how do I dance with fear? I asked, captivated by her wisdom. Fear is like a storm, she explained. It arrives uninvited, but it can teach you the art of presence, the beauty of resilience. Instead of resisting it, let it wash over you. Stand amidst the turbulence and construct your anchor that is the stillness the old man spoke of. As the river surged forward, I envisioned my own fears as waves that crashed and receded, revealing the firm ground beneath. Perhaps facing them didn't have to be a battle but a partnership, a way to understand the depths of my own spirit. The wind picked up, sending leaves dancing through the air, illuminating their vibrant colors against the fading sunlight. I watched as they twirled down, twirling like forgotten dreams or past regrets, falling freely into the embrace of the earth. Was there liberation in letting go? The thought lingered in my mind like a fresh breeze on a sultry summer day. The woman glanced at me, her face warm with understanding. You see now, everything is interconnected, your fears, your peace, your very essence. By embracing one, you invite the other to unfold. The river knows this dance, and so must you. As the sky around us transformed into shades of rose and indigo, I felt a stirring inside, a combination of curiosity and anticipation for what lay ahead. The stillness she spoke of began to unfurl within me, yet my heart remained wrapped in questions. Could I truly embrace my fears and still find serenity? How might the shadows illumine the path to my authentic self? I rose, filled with a sense of wonder, grateful for this encounter that had opened another door on my journey. As I turned to thank her, she was gone, leaving behind only ripples in the water and a lingering sense of connection to something infinitely greater. I walked along the riverside, aware now of the dual essence of my journey, the light and the shadows intertwining in an eternal dance. Beneath the surface of my existence lay the shimmering depths waiting to be explored. Would I have the bravery to dive in, to embrace the full spectrum of my experience? Each step forward brought me closer to the answers, while questions still beckoned like the gentle flow of the river, an endless invitation to explore the mysteries of the heart. The river continued its melodic dance beside me as I ventured further along the bank, the golden hues of dusk giving way to a velvety twilight. A growing sense of urgency churned within me. I needed to unlock the next layer of my spiritual journey. The woman's words echoed in my mind, urging me to embrace my fears with a sense of openness I hadn't yet known. Suddenly, a flicker of movement caught my eye. A small flickering light appeared on the path ahead, gradually becoming brighter. Intrigued, I stepped closer and discovered a flickering lantern suspended from a branch, casting gentle light upon a small clearing ahead. Curiosity pulled me in, guiding my hesitant steps. As I approached, I noticed a gathering of people seated in a circle, their faces illuminated by the warm glow of the lantern. They were whispering, their voices blending harmoniously with the sound of the river. Drawn in by an unseen force, I quietly settled in at the edge of the group, eager to absorb their energy and wisdom. A woman at the center of the circle wore a deep indigo shawl adorned with shimmering silver patterns that reminded me of the night sky. Her presence commanded attention, but not in an overwhelming way. She radiated serenity. "Welcome," she said, her voice soothing, yet powerful. "Tonight, we are here to connect with the whispers of our souls, to uncover the stories that shape us." With her invitation, I felt an inner calling to share, yet an old fear gripped me, the fear of vulnerability. What if my story was too mundane, too unworthy? As the circle began to speak, each share unlocking a piece of their spirits, I saw the threads of humanity weaving together, a tapestry of pain, joy, and resilience. Their stories resonated, sparks igniting within me, urging me to trust in my own voice. It was then that I recalled the old man's words, "Your truth is the key that unlocks hidden doors." There was a symphony of human experience in this gathering that echoed the lessons I had learned thus far. Fear and serenity intermingled, curving around one another like the river winding through the land. One by one, they spoke of their journeys, their struggles with fear, and how they transformed those shadows into wisdom. The woman in the shawl encouraged, "Feel the weight of your story, let it unravel and find its worth within you." She glanced toward me, sensing my internal hesitation. We all have a story to tell. With my heart racing and the weight of unknowing lingering in the air, I stood, the lantern's glow illuminating my trepidation. I struggled to accept my fears, I began, my voice trembling yet resolute. I am often overwhelmed by self-doubt, and I yearn for peace. Each time I confront my shadows, I question whether I can truly embrace them. A gentle silence enfolded the group as they listened, their eyes encouraging and open. The moment felt sacred, a raw exchange of vulnerability and strength. "You are not alone, to wrestle with doubt is to be human," the woman in the shawl replied softly. "Fear can become a teacher, guiding you to the heart of your true essence. Imagine if you welcomed it fully, what might it reveal?" Her words struck me deeply, nudging my understanding beyond the familiar edges of comfort. What if, instead of running from my fears, I could invite them to sit beside me, to reveal the wisdom they held? As if in response, the lantern flickered, and from the shadows of the clearing, a young boy stepped forward, his innocent smile illuminating the dim light. "I was scared of the dark, too, once," he said, his voice light and playful. "But I learned that if you dance with the darkness, it can become your friend. Sometimes, it even shows you things that are beautiful." His simple wisdom was a breeze through my soul, a reminder that navigating between light and darkness did not mean diminishing my light. I smiled back at him, the connection sparking a new hope within me. That dance was not one of conflict but of collaboration and embrace of the entire spectrum of existence. As I settled back into the circle and listened to the stories around me, the interplay of light and shadows began to weave a fabric of empathy and understanding. With each shared experience, fears transformed into lessons, burdens lifted into offerings. This circle, this sacred gathering, became a mirror reflecting my deeper self. The night deepened, the stars beginning to twinkle like distant lanterns above us. Yet, even as the questions and mysteries of my own journey morphed, one question lingered in my heart: could I, too, find beauty in the shadows, and in turn, transform my stress into sacred peace? As the river sang its timeless song, I felt the current tug at me once more, urging me to explore the depths waiting just beneath the surface of my fears and dreams. As the night deepened, I found myself cradled within the gentle embrace of the circle. The warm glow of the lantern flickered softly above us, casting playful shadows that danced between the tall grasses. I felt the pulse of connection humming through the air, a resonance that reminded me we were all on a path of seeking, each with our own fears and hopes intertwined. The woman in the indigo shawl leaned forward, inviting each person to close their eyes and truly listen to the whispers of their own hearts. I followed her lead, letting my eyelids flutter shut, allowing the outside world to fade away. I drew in a deep breath, feeling the rise and fall of my chest, the sounds of the river mingling with the rustle of leaves overhead. In the stillness, visions danced behind my eyelids. I saw a vast forest, rich with life and wisdom, each tree a sanctuary of stories untold. The vision shifted, revealing a great oak, its roots sprawling deep into the earth, grounding yet expansive. I sensed the oak's strength and the solace within its embrace. Then, as if a gentle wind brushed against my soul, I caught a glimpse of shadows darting around the base, flickering with energy. Fear took the shape of those shadows, darting in and out of sight, blurring the lines of clarity. As I opened my eyes, the woman's voice drew me back to the circle. "Within you lies a forest of secrets, ripe for discovery. To journey inward is to tend to your roots, to dig deep and become acquainted with the shadows that reside in the underbrush. What do these roots ask of you?" Her question lingered in the air, wrapping around my spirit and urging me to reflect. I turned my gaze to the boy who had spoken of dancing with darkness. He sat cross-legged with a knowing smile, his eyes sparkling with mischief and wisdom. "I don't just fear the dark," he chimed in, "I get to know it. I found that fear turns into stories worth sharing." His innocence cut through the layers of pretense I'd built around vulnerability, and as I listened to his words, a memory flickered to life within me, one of sitting in my school's art room, painting my first canvas, only to feel the nagging grip of uncertainty when my brush hesitated above a white surface. It had felt as though I was staring into a void, afraid of ruining the canvas. Yet, at the moment I had dipped the brush into the paint, each stroke transformed the emptiness into a vibrant scene of colors colliding. Could it be, I pondered aloud, that the canvas of my life is waiting for me to embrace all of its colors, both light and dark? The circle fell silent again, each listener absorbing the weight of my realization. A woman across from me nodded, her hands resting in her lap. Every stroke tells a tale, no matter how imperfectly applied. The art of life is not in fearlessness but in imperfection and truth. The conversation swirled like a gentle eddy in the river. One after another, voices flowed with further reflections, each illuminating different facets of what it meant to welcome fear and embrace vulnerability. It became clear, serenity was not a destination but an unfolding, a continuous dance of acceptance that invited shadows into the light. As the evening grew colder, the glow of the lantern softened, cradling my thoughts and feelings in warmth. I thought of how I often tried to quell the restlessness within me, the incessant quest for peace that felt perpetually out of reach. Perhaps my yearning had been misdirected. Instead of seeking peace, I could cultivate awareness amid the chaos. The woman in the shawl broke the contemplative silence, her voice steady and soothing. Reflect on this. What lessons do your fears hide in their depths? When we face what we wish to avoid, we not only reclaim our power but invite serenity to be our ally rather than our adversary. Her words permeated my being, awakening the acceptance I hadn't realized I longed for. Stepping toward my fears and doubts, I considered the beauty waiting to be revealed, the light hidden within the shadows. What wisdom could I unearth if I stood firmly in the midst of my uncertainty? As the circle began to share anticipations for the days ahead, a murmur of intent and commitment floated around the gathering. The questions returned, unearthing new reflections. How could I cultivate a relationship with the shadows that roam within me? In what ways could I transform my stress into insight, allowing it to illuminate my path rather than obscure it? In that moment of collective vulnerability, a vision formed in my mind: the winding river, a mirror reflecting the truth of my quest. As it flowed effortlessly towards the horizon, I could feel the pull of its current. What would it mean to surrender to that flow, trusting the teachings hidden within the depths of my fears? As dawn broke the horizon, ushering in a palette of soft pinks and oranges, I sat at the riverbank, memories of the night still swirling within me like gossamer threads. The circle, once vibrant with shared energies, now felt like a tender scar etched in time, urging me to reflect on what had been awakened within my spirit. The cold dew kissed my ankles, and I watched the water flowing by, mirroring the ever-present journey of my mind and heart. In the early light, the world around me seemed to hum with a life of its own. Each bird song was a call to adventure, a beckoning toward authenticity. I closed my eyes momentarily, leaning into the rhythm of the river. Instinctively, I reached out to the pulse of nature, sensing how perfectly it danced between chaos and calm. I was reminded that nature, in all its magnificence, thrived upon contradiction: storms that birthed life, darkness that revealed the stars. Just as the warmth of the sun began to chase away the chill, a gentle nudge within me began to stir, a call to explore the secrets that lurked just beyond the veil of my apprehensions. I stood, brushing the remnants of night from my clothes, and faced the woods that bordered the riverbank. The shadows of the trees loomed invitingly, offering to cradle me as I ventured deeper into the heart of my fears. With each step, the underbrush crackled beneath my feet. I could feel the weight of the earth, rooted, ancient, yet teeming with life, reminiscent of the wisdom that lay dormant within my own being. The deeper I wandered, the more vividly I recalled the shadows that had danced around the great oak in my vision. I realized that I had only brushed the surface of understanding. The shadows represented more than mere fear; they were the unexamined territories of my soul, waiting to be acknowledged and explored. Suddenly, a flash of light caught my eye. I turned to see a spark of golden feathers hidden within the foliage, the flickering form of a small bird flitting about in a tree. It chirped and sang a melody that felt filled with knowledge. Intrigued, I followed it, moving quietly as it danced from branch to branch. It seemed alive with a joyous understanding of the world, effortlessly weaving between the shadows and light. "That's the trick, isn't it?" I mused aloud, now realizing I had been drawing myself away from the very essence that surrounded me. The bird's frolic reminded me of the importance of play even in uncertainty. As it soared upwards, I couldn't help but feel encouraged to mirror its journey, embracing the life spirit that thrived amidst complexity. After a while, the bird finally settled upon a branch, its chest puffed in vibrant defiance against the chaos of the world. What wisdom do you hold? I whispered, a question aimed at the tiny creature but echoing within my own heart. In response, it tilted its head, a glimmer of understanding passing between us. It felt as if it was daring me to continue seeking beyond my fears, to embrace the unknown with a childlike curiosity. Then, I felt a cool breeze wrap around me, a reminder that I was not alone. The words of the woman in the indigo shawl reverberated through my mind. What lessons do your fears hide in their depths? Perhaps I needed to evoke more than familiarity from my past. I needed to trust the unfolding mystery of life itself. As I continued my venture through the woods, an intoxicating mix of anticipation and trepidation accompanied me. I reached a clearing, enveloped by trees, where golden light poured through the gaps in the leaves, casting playful patterns upon the ground. Here, I sensed a palpable energy, one that beckoned me to pause and listen closely. It dawned upon me that this space was sacred, a sanctuary to confront and converse with my inner darkness. The lessons of the fleeting bird entrusted me with an inquiry that felt monumental. What if I treat my fears, my shadows, as my greatest teachers? The moment was electric, sparking a cascade of questions within me. What stories lay dormant in the depths of my being? Which chapters remained unwritten, and how could I allow my fears to guide me toward their exploration? I sat upon the cool earth, forming a connection with both the soil and the stories beneath, glimpsing the woven tapestry of my essence, a journey waiting for its narrative to unfold. As I sank deeper into reflection, I envisioned my canvas, the blank spaces ready to be filled with vivid strokes of authenticity. How many colors lay obscured by the grayscale of doubt? I yearned to transition from observer to creator, daring to paint my life with all its imperfections, transforming stress into artistry. With that thought firmly rooted, I breathed in deeply, expanding my chest as I stood in the clearing. There was a raw vulnerability within the air, an invitation to acknowledge not just the beauty but the tumultuous weight of it all. This moment didn't just exist outside of me, it thrummed in my core, hinting at the sacred peace nestled within my own depths, waiting for acknowledgement. As I turned to leave the glade, moving forward with a renewed sense of purpose, I pondered the nature of surrender and trust. What awaited me in the hidden layers of my own spirit? What mysteries were intertwined with my seeking heart? The river, still flowing endlessly, carried my unspoken questions along with it, bobbing upon its ripples like little boats. Each wave rippled out, carrying not only my fears but also the profound possibility of embracing them, a gentle reminder that serenity awaits, shrouded just beneath the surface, ready to be unearthed through courage and reflection. As I ventured further from the clearing, the forest enveloped me in its embrace. Each step felt lighter, as if the very air around me shimmered with the essence of new beginnings. The sunlight filtered through the canopy above, painting the world in vibrant hues of greens and golds, steady reminders of the life that thrived beneath the surface. I followed the winding trail, an instinctual guide leading me deeper into my spirit's labyrinth. The whispers of the trees settled into my thoughts, urging me to pay attention to the stories winding their way through the roots and branches, stories not only of nature but also of my own inner world. There was a new warmth in my heart as I realized that I was part of a much larger narrative. Just ahead, I spotted a peculiar sight, a small wooden structure hidden among the thicket, vines coiling around it like protective arms. Curiosity tugged at my heart, and I approached, brushing aside delicate fronds that guarded the entrance. As the door creaked open, I stepped inside, the faint scent of cedar wrapping around me like a hug. Within the cozy confines, I discovered an assemblage of objects, a tapestry of artifacts that spoke of journeys taken and lessons learned. Framed photographs adorned the walls, each one a window to a moment suspended in time, filled with laughter and tears alike. In the corner, a small wooden table hosted an array of journals, their spines worn but still inviting. I reached for one, the cover embossed with swirling patterns that danced under my fingertips, and opened it to reveal a series of handwritten entries. Each page, a testament to the ebb and flow of someone else's quest for understanding. In these words, I recognized fragments of my own struggles and aspirations laid bare, the shared humanity that united us. It felt like a profound connection, a reminder that my fears were not isolated, but echoes of universal experiences. Thumbing through the pages, I stumbled upon a recurring theme, the power of intention. Each writer had grappled with the dissonance of their fears and the clarion call of their desires. Here, among their thoughts, was a shared exploration of what it meant to surrender to the unknown and trust that the journey itself was as vital as the destination. As I immersed myself in these reflections, the room shimmered with possibility. Questions wove their way into my mind once again, curling like smoke seeking escape. What if I permitted myself to become a steward of my own intentions? What if I could anchor my visions not in fear, but in love, drawing strength from vulnerability to foster growth? The light flickering through the wooden structures opened my awareness to the dawn of a new realization. Perhaps the complexities of my existence were not obstacles to overcome, but guiding lights illuminating the path ahead. Just as these pages narrated the willingness to embrace struggle and uncertainty, so too could my fears become a chart towards rediscovering my purpose. As I closed the journal, a wave of gratitude filled my heart. Gratitude for all the courageous souls who had come before me, leaving a trail of learned lessons and lit pathways to follow. I stepped outside, inhaling deeply, allowing the weight of my experience to shift, lightening my burden. As I resumed my path through the woods, I spotted the flicker of golden feathers once more. The bird that had danced earlier now perched high upon a branch, its song resonating through the clearing like a gentle reminder to be fully present within my unfolding. I paused to listen, capturing the notes in my heart, feeling every melody tugging at the threads of my spirit. Teach me to trust, one whispered, feeling wind swirl around me as if nature responded in kind. In that moment, I reflected on surrendering the need for certainty in exchange for the beauty of discovery. My journey became less about seeking the ultimate answer and more about dancing with the questions that life painted in bold strokes across my canvas. Each note of fear transformed into poetry, a melody leading me to unlock the hidden secrets of serenity that reside within the intertwined shadows and lights of my existence. With each step, I knew I was co-creating my story, a symphony of moments echoing out into the world. Each fear I embraced was a note, each intention became a rhythm. An endless loop of creation where the ordinary flowed into something sacred, ripe with the promise of an uncharted horizon. Yet, as I marveled at this realization, another question lingered, shimmering just beyond my grasp. What happens when the fears I confront give way to even deeper mysteries nestled in waiting? What stories remain untold, and how can I embrace them without losing the essence of who I am? As I moved through the foliage, each step resonated with a newfound understanding. The forest, once merely a collection of trees and shadows, felt like a living tapestry woven with whispers of wisdom. The air around me thrummed with energy, each breeze carrying a hint of guidance. I walked deeper into this sacred theater of nature, eager to uncover what lay beyond my understanding. Soon I stumbled upon a pool, a mirror of crystal clear water reflecting the vibrant greens of the surrounding trees and the azure of the sky. I knelt beside it, gazing intently into the depths. The water's surface held not just my reflection but a flicker of something more, a dance of light and shadow, like a narrative still in the making. The ripples echoed within me, reminding me of the interconnectedness of all things and the fluid nature of existence. In that tranquil moment, I felt drawn to close my eyes. There, in the stillness, visions began to unfurl, a kaleidoscope of images washing over me like gentle waves. Memories of laughter, tears, and dreams entwined, forming a pathway illuminated by golden light. Each memory held a piece of my essence, a spark waiting to be reignited. As I sat, the song of the golden-feathered bird filled my heart anew, a soothing balm for my restless spirit. Opening my eyes, I understood that within the pool lay an invitation to unearth truths. What if every experience was a drop in the ocean of my soul, contributing to a vast, undiscovered depth? I wanted to dive deep, to explore the currents of vulnerability and strength that intertwined in every aspect of my life. The endless questions swirled, like the dancing leaves above me. How could I emerge transformed from each experience, casting aside the fear of loss and embracing the richness of growth? With this awareness ignited, I rose and continued my journey, feeling the soft earth underfoot like a supportive embrace. The forest around me swayed in a rhythmic dance, nature's slow exhale echoing the cadence of my own heart. Suddenly, a rustling in the underbrush caught my attention. Peering cautiously from behind a fuchsia blossom, a curious deer emerged, her eyes deep pools reflecting innocence and wisdom. She approached with quiet grace, standing as a sentinel of the wild, urging me to seek the delicate balance of strength and vulnerability. "I see you," I whispered, extending my hand as if expecting a response. In that fleeting encounter, the realization washed over me that the universe offers signs and encounters that shape our spiritual evolution. The deer tilted her head, as if to acknowledge the whisper of understanding between us. As I continued my trek, questions wrapped themselves around my mind like a summer vine. What wisdom does this world hold for me in its silence, in its tender moments of wildness? What do I still need to uncover about myself in the gentle embracing of fear? The answers eluded me, yet their pull was undeniable, compelling me to follow the threads deeper into the heart of the forest. Guided by an ethereal intuition, I stumbled upon a grove of ancient trees, their gnarled branches stretching high into the sky, forming a cathedral of calmness. Sunlight filtered through their leaves, casting emerald patterns on the forest floor. It was here that I felt the weight of the world lift slightly. Here, amongst the giants, every breath was transformed into an affirmation of life. I closed my eyes again, surrendering to the wisdom of this sacred space. With each inhalation, I felt time dissolve, creating room for introspection. I thought of the deer I had just encountered and the stories woven into her existence. Did she feel fear when she wandered these woods? Did she embrace the unknown with the same curiosity that resided within me? Each question birthed another, spiraling out into a vast expanse of possibility. What if I allowed myself to roam through my fears as freely as the deer moved through this enchanted terrain? What treasures could I uncover in the willingness to be open, to explore the rugged landscape of my heart, as I prepared to depart the grove? A sudden gust swept through, rustling the leaves and sending a cascade of twinkling sunlight dancing around me. It felt as if the forest itself breathed life into my reflections, nudging me onward on this path of inquiry. There was no urgency, no deadline to reach, only the promise of an ongoing expedition through uncertainty. With a heart brimming with questions, I made my way back into the heart of the woods. The forest, in all its splendor, was a reminder that serenity could be found in chaos, and that answers often lay hidden within the very act of seeking. Beneath the weight of my explorations, a new inquiry began to crystallize in my mind. How can I embrace the unknown beauty of every unfolding moment and learn to embody trust amidst uncertainty? As I ventured deeper into the heart of the forest, the path beneath my feet began to shift, presenting a meandering trail woven with soft moss and interspersed with delicate wildflowers. The air thrummed with a symphony of life, an orchestra of insects, the rustle of small creatures, and the melodic calls of unseen birds soaring through the trees. Each sound felt like a note in the grand composition of existence, inviting me to step further into the rhythm of the natural world. That I, in the embrace of this vibrant wilderness, I stumbled upon a clearing bathed in dappled sunlight. The landscape was surreal, an open circle framed by towering trees, their thick trunks standing sentinel over a field of lavender and sage. The fragrant herbs beckoned, their scent mingling with the cool breeze that danced through the clearing. Here, surrounded by nature's delicate artistry, something stirred within me, an awakening that whispered of deep-rooted connections. As I knelt to touch the lavender, a series of questions unfurled in my mind, each petal a reflection of my inner journey. What does it mean to truly be grounded? How does one navigate the spaces of vulnerability and strength? And, perhaps most pressing of all, how do I carry this newfound sense of serendipity into my everyday life? As if in response to my pondering, the rustling of leaves brought forth an unexpected visitor. A wise old owl, perched upon a low-hanging branch, surveyed me with eyes that seemed to hold the stories of countless nightfall confessions. I felt an instant connection, as if this creature had seen the very fabric of my soul's journey. "Your questions are sacred," the owl seemed to convey, his steady gaze penetrating the layers of my uncertainties. I recalled the deer, the grove of ancient trees, and this wise observer, each encounter weaving itself into a tapestry of teachings. Suddenly, the air shimmered with the palpable energy of understanding. Every creature I encountered was a guide, each a messenger holding a fragment of insight. With a newfound determination, I stood tall in the clearing, drawing strength from the wisdom of the forest and its inhabitants. I took a deep breath, letting the crisp air fill my lungs, grounding myself in the vibrant present. In that moment, I realized that despite my uncertainties, the beauty of existence lay in the act of seeking and the willingness to embrace the fluidity of life. What if each encounter were not a mere coincidence but a carefully threaded sign woven by the universe? The notion bloomed within me, a realization that the flow of life had its own wisdom, inviting me to surrender to its currents. As if the forest were an open book, I felt an urge to read and interpret its silent lessons. As I stood, pondering my next step, the owl lifted into the air with surprising grace, soaring above the treetops, a ghostly figure against the azure canvas of the sky. I watched as he circled and landed on a distant branch, a fleeting reminder that sometimes perspective is all we need to see the path that lies ahead. What wisdom awaited me, hidden beyond the horizon of my immediate view? Reinvigorated by this encounter, I hesitated momentarily at the edge of the clearing, pondering the lightness that permeated my spirit. In this space of tranquility, I understood that trust in the unfolding was a continuous journey in itself. I took another step forward, feeling elation in each tread as questions transformed into affirmations. What if every experience, joyful or challenging, was simply an opportunity for growth, an offering from the mysterious tapestry of existence? Could I allow myself to revel in the unknown, cultivating trust like a tender seed waiting to blossom? With each inclination of my heart, the sense of exploration deepened. Guided by instinct, I felt drawn to wander even farther into the forest, inviting further lessons to emerge and reveal themselves. The rustling leaves whispered promises of revelations yet to come, illuminating the intricate balance of serenity and chaos that embodies life itself. And so, in this sacred moment, I was left with a lingering question resonating in the chambers of my mind: how might I fully embrace the lessons of each encounter, trusting in the inherent wisdom of the universe, and find beauty in the heartbeat of uncertainty as I journey deeper into the wilds of my soul? As dawn broke, the world outside my window was bathed in a golden light, hinting at new beginnings. I sat on my bed enveloped in serenity, the lingering echoes of the forest resonating in my heart. My journey was far from over, yet a keen awareness had settled within me, marking the threshold of a profound transformation. Each experience I had encountered, every whisper of the wind, every flash of insight, now knitted together the fabric of my awakening. The lessons from the forest lingered like dew upon grass, fresh and invigorating. I had danced with fear, curled up beside vulnerability, and embraced my shadows as allies rather than enemies. Now, I understood that serenity was not in the absence of turmoil, but in the ability to hold space for both, allowing them to coexist, enriching my existence in a vibrant tapestry of colors. Today, I resolved, would be a testament to this newfound truth. I stepped outside, allowing the crisp air to envelop me. Each breath I took tasted sweet with possibility. I ventured out onto the familiar streets of my neighborhood, yet they felt transformed, alive with energy. Sunlight streamed through the leaves, and I felt a part of the divine interconnectedness that stretched beyond my comprehension. That I walked with purpose, feeling each step ground me in the present. The child laughing in the park, the elderly couple leaning closer as they shared stories, the beautiful chaos of life unfolding before my eyes, I absorbed it all like a sponge soaking in the radiance of existence. Each moment glimmered with significance, unveiling layers of beauty previously overshadowed by my own doubts. As I strolled through the park, I recalled my encounters: the wise old man, the gentle woman in white, and the vibrant boy. They had all pointed me to a singular truth: peace was not only an inner sanctuary but a choice I made each day. To embrace my fears was to free myself from the chains of self-imposed limitations, to step into the river of life that flowed eternally forward, nurturing and transformative. I reached a small hill overlooking the park, my heart racing with anticipation. I lifted my arms wide, welcoming the wind that played in my hair. I am ready, I whispered to the universe. Ready to uncover the hidden secrets of serenity in every aspect of my life. As if in affirmation, a songbird alighted next to me on a branch, its sweet melody filling the air. It was as though the universe was responding, pouring its essence into the air around me. Embrace each moment, it seemed to sing, for every note, every syllable of existence is sacred. At that moment, a wave of clarity washed over me, a revelation as bright as the sun rising on the horizon. The path to serenity lay in my ability to find beauty in imperfection, joy amid strife, and wisdom in silence. The deeper I dove into the waters of uncertainty, the richer the revelations that awaited me. In embracing my shadows, I had learned to invite light into my life. Both fear and love coexisted, illuminating my journey. My spirit soared with the understanding that by acknowledging my fears, I transformed them into catalysts for growth, paving the way for authentic expression. Each fear was a teacher, guiding me toward the exquisite dance of existence, a dance that did not shy away from life's messy, intricate brushstrokes but celebrated them in all their chaotic brilliance. As I turned to leave, I felt the warmth of the sun on my back, a gentle, affirming embrace from the universe. I inhaled deeply and smiled, embracing the unfamiliarity of my journey forward. No longer would I clutch at certainty. This was a leap into the unknown, a celebration of life's miraculous unfolding. With a heart full of trust in the process and luminous clarity igniting every sensation, I moved forward, ready to weave my story into the vast narrative of the world. My journey would not be about chasing serenity, it would be about nurturing it, cultivating it within every interaction, every choice, and every step I took. As I walked away from that hill, I whispered to the breeze, "Thank you." Not as a distant wish but as a vow, a commitment to honor the sacredness of each moment, each fear transformed into strength, each doubt unfurled into the wisdom of clarity. Life, I realized, was both the canvas and the masterpiece, forever evolving. In this delicate balance of shadow and light, I found my peace. I had unlocked the hidden secrets of serenity, not in the absence of fear, but in the brave acceptance of its presence, dancing with it, holding it close, and allowing it to guide me through the wild and beautiful journey of life. And with each step, I knew I was exactly where I needed to be. Unfolding, embracing, becoming. For in the grand tapestry of existence, there are no mistakes, only the wondrous art of being alive.